Bryan Krall was born in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. His family was a typical family with a stay-at-home mom and a dad who went to Penn State and did a lot of managerial work. His family was happy for him to join the service because it got him out of the house and gave him some kind of discipline. Bryan Krall entered the Air Force, but originally wanted to enter the Navy. He wanted to enter the Navy, but was told they weren't taking many people at the time. The reason he originally wanted to enter the Navy was because he had gotten his license suspended and figured that in the Navy he wouldn't have to drive around much. Krall believed his time in the service affected his relationship with his family negatively in the long run, but positively in the short run. During service, Krall was too busy to be missing home. Service is very different from home, but still feels very familiar. Home was a phone call away, and family members were very supportive. For his family, it was a very unique situation for someone to be in the military. He was in the military and away from his family for 12 years. He has both good memories and bad memories of service. One bad memory was when a man he was in charge of, unfortunately, committed suicide. He said,
So there's some bad stuff there, but some good stuff.
A lot of people from the military he still keeps in contact with. He had a few cousins that attempted to join the military, but he said,
So it's definitely not for everybody.
Another thing said was,
you're useful until you're not, and then you're no use to them. So
if someone would want to join the military in the future, do a lot of research and do it 100%. He said,
like, give it your all. Give it 100%, because you will find, and it was easy for me. I promoted very quickly.
He also said to do it for yourself.
Don't do it for your family. Don't do it for X, Y, and Z reasons.
He is most proud of being able to go to these different countries and help support their militaries. He started with basic training at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland. At the start, simple tasks like mopping and cleaning. Then there are more safety training and checking into base. He did say,
and if you screw it up, if you make mistakes, they will take that responsibility away.
The Air Force is not very physical, but it's more of a mental game. The Air Force is also known to be the easiest branch. He had pretty normal training, but he did have to do one of the longer tech schools because of the explosive safety training. The most important skill from his training was knowing what things were called and making sense. He was stationed 3 places after training. The places he was stationed were Korea, Italy, and Florida. He said Italy was probably one of the best places he was stationed during his time in the Air Force. He explained that it was in a good location for traveling around Europe. He said that we were
about an hour away from Venice, a train ride away from Rome. We were a couple hours away from Munich, Germany, a couple hours away from Paris.
Because of this, it was a pretty interesting place to live.
Krall also talked about what a normal workday would look like for him when he was stationed in Italy. Most days started early in the morning. He said,
For Aviano in Italy, usually roll call 0700. So,
which meant he had to leave his house around 6 in the morning so he could get there on time. After roll call, they would start preparing aircraft for flights that day. At the base, they had around 25 F-16 fighter jets that were responsible for maintaining. Through the day, they would help launch the aircraft, load or unload equipment, and make sure everything was working correctly. The jets would usually fly once in the morning and then come back around noon. When they returned, Krall and the other workers would refuel them and prepare them to fly again later in the afternoon. After the second flight, the aircraft would come back again, and they would check for any problems that had happened during the flight. If something was broken or needed to be fixed, the next shift would work on it. Because of the schedule, the days were pretty long and usually lasted around 10 hours or more. Krall worked with munitions, which meant he had to deal with explosives and weapons that were attached to the aircraft. Because of that, there was always some pressure to make sure everything was done correctly. He explained that the job required a lot of attention to detail. He said,
you quite literally can blow yourself up if you're not careful.
Even though it's hard for explosives to accidentally go off, everything still had to be handled the right way. His job was to make sure the weapons were built correctly, attached correctly to the aircraft, and that the aircraft systems worked within them. As Krall stayed in the Air Force longer and got promoted, his job slowly changed. When he first started, he mostly followed instructions and did basic tasks. Later on, he began supervising other people and making sure the work was getting done. He talked about how the change from being led by others to leading people himself was different. One thing he tried to focus on was treating people with respect. He said that when you become a leader,
the hardest thing is you got to do your research and make sure the information you're always giving out is correct. So that was the biggest lesson to me is don't tell someone to do something unless you're 100% sure that that is the correct thing to do.
He believed that treating people fairly helped them work better together. Later in his career, he became a technical sergeant. At this point, he had a lot more responsibility. Instead of just focusing on his own tasks, he had to make sure that the many different people were doing their jobs correctly. When he was stationed in Korea, he explained that he was responsible for coordinating work involving many aircraft and workers. He said he was dealing with
about 28 aircraft, about 72 people, and we had about 120 munitions on the flight line at all times.
Because of this, he had to be careful about the decisions he made. Krall was also able to live in different places around the world because of the military. One place he said he still feels connected to is Korea. When he was stationed there later in his career, his family was able to live there with him. His kids even went to school there, he said.
It was a great time. It was a great place to be with my family.
During his time in the Air Force, Krall received several medals. Some of them were Achievement and Commendation medals. However, he said the one he was most proud of was the Achievement Medal he earned during his first year in Korea. This was important to him because it showed he was doing a good job early in his career, even though it was difficult adjusting to the new country and learning how everything worked. When looking back on his career, Krall said there were a few things he might have done differently. For example, he said he might not have stayed in the Air Force as long as he did. He explained,
I probably should have just called it quits after about 8 years. But
even though he said that, he still seemed glad that he had the chance to serve and had the experiences that came with it. Overall, Bryan Krall's time in the Air Force included many different responsibilities and experiences. He worked with aircraft, explosives, traveled to different countries, and eventually became a leader who supervised other people. Even though the job could be stressful and required long hours, it also gave him the chance to see places and meet people that he probably never would have otherwise. His story shows what life in the military can be like and how it can affect someone over time. Krall served in the Air Force working on F-35 ammunition planes. Over his 11 years, he was posted at 4 locations and helped out our military to defend against numerous threats. We would like to thank E6 Technical Sergeant Bryan A. Krall for his service and participation in the Air Force.